Good morning. Once again, this is Detroit in Black and White. I'm Adolph Mongo, and we are broadcasting live from the
David Whitney
building. Is a hell of a
It's
building.
beautiful.
There's no question
It's
about
beautiful.
it. Newly renovated, division of Marriott. So here we are for the second week in a row. Good morning, Vanessa Moss, Attorney Vanessa Moss, candidate write-in Vanessa Moss. How you doing?
I'm doing fine. Good morning to all those that are viewing Detroit Black and White. We welcome you to watch this. Not only that, we ask that you like, subscribe, and share. You can catch us on all social media platforms. You can also catch us on www.detroitblackandwhite.com. You can watch all the previous episodes. If you want to come in and participate, you're welcome to come in and participate. We are here every Saturday. When I say here, on the YouTube platform, every Saturday from 10 to 11 o'clock.
Okay, Allan Lengel, co-founder of Deadline Detroit. How you doing, Allan?
I'm good.
You were stuck in D.C., New York.
I was stuck for. I guess I got to move closer to the mic. How's that sound?
Yeah.
I was in D.C. I was supposed to come back on Saturday. My flight got canceled on Saturday. I rescheduled for 8:30 p.m. Sunday night. I got there at 6 p.m. They delayed the flight to 11:30, then 12:30, then they canceled. I had to get my bags, go back to the friends I was staying with. Then they scheduled me for Tuesday. That got canceled. And then Wednesday, they scheduled me from JFK it's normally an hour flight from DC to Detroit. I ended up going, the flight was scheduled at noon to leave to JFK in New York, and then a 3-hour layover, and everything was delayed. I got home at 9 o'clock that night, but I got out of that crazy maze. But it's, they're going to pay for, I think, some of the food, and they gave me 10,000 points, but I'm going to ask for more. I think that's kind of nothing,
Well, anyway, it was a mess. Hopefully they got it together. Well, I'm gonna go to you, Vanessa. You're outraged. Lots of things happening.
Right, a lot of things that happened in the last couple of weeks. One of the things that sticks out in my mind is the murder of the Melvindale police officer Muhammad Saeed, 23-year-old, who protected and served, and in doing his duty, he was murdered. And then you juxtapose that with what happened in Springfield, Illinois, with Sonia Massey, who called the police to protect and serve, and she was murdered. That is outrageous.
The read on that was what was going on? She had a boiling pot of water,
but
it was on the stove. She was taking it off, okay. And then she was scared when they came. The police came. As soon as she went to the pan on the stove, he said, "I'm gonna shoot you in the face," and he shot her.
Just when I tell you it's outrageous. It is outrageous. You have someone who is doing his job. He's 23 years old,
right.
And if you pay attention, they say brain science says
talk
that we
about
don't
the
mature.
Melvindale. Yeah, actually, they changed it to 26 years.
Okay. So,
22,
no, I'm saying he was 23, but brain science says you don't mature until you're 26 years old, right? So this kid, as far as I'm concerned, is dead, okay? And then, and we know that police officers, they know they put their lives on the line every day. But you certainly, as a family member, you expect her to come home. And then when you have Sonia Massey, who has 2 children that are under the age of 18, and this woman called the police. She has some mental health issues, and now she's dead. Now it's outrageous. The one thing I will say is that they have in both cases they have people who they suspect were responsible for the murder of these people.
I was in Springfield, Illinois, 2 months ago. It's the capital of Illinois, a political town, a small town. we got a small town feel that live in those kind of towns. Here you had a cop that's been on 4 different police departments in 6 years. He floats all over the place, don't last too long, and he constantly gets hired by these folks. He got kicked out of the military for whatever reason.
Dishonorable discharge.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And here he can still carry a gun and shoot somebody down. Where the Springfield police fucked up at in the beginning was the family thought that Miss Massey killed herself because they know she had some mental issues.
Yes.
They didn't tell them that the cops shot her. You know, so they had to go. Fortunately, they had the body cam.
Right.
And there's who that remind you of? Breonna Taylor, the young man in Texas, where they call the police or the cop went in the wrong apartment and shot the guy, and he was just, it's just ridiculous. And then you look at the police officer on duty, make a traffic stop or whatever they're gonna do, and he end up in the morgue and he's gone.
But you know what? On both sides, what I will say is this: you have officers involved here. Officers, they experience a lot of trauma. They experience a heck of a lot of trauma. Doing that job, that is a really, really tough job. And when you have people who say, hey, F the police, I don't like the police, I don't respect the police, I'm scared of the police, but then you want me to come and do my job, that's a pretty tough position to be in. And then, you have the citizens who feel the way that I just espoused. It's really sad. I think that's those two stories are outrageous.
Okay. I think with that shooting with the boiling water and stuff like that, hopefully it's used as training for other officers around the country to show how can you de-escalate something instead of, who's got a boiling pot of water? There was a fair distance between them. He could have. He said, "Look, he could have tried to calm her down."
First thing he said, he was gonna shoot her.
Yeah, he could have stepped back. He could have just done a lot of different things, and I think those are training moments, unfortunately. But it should be training moments for all departments around the country to say, you can't go in. A woman has a boiling pot of water and you shot her to death.
But that, you know what? I'm going to play devil's advocate.
Yeah.
He's entitled to a defense. We don't know. We weren't there. We don't know how far away they were. We don't know what was going on in his head. I'm just saying.
All I know,
I'm just saying.
All I know is the asshole said he was going to shoot her.
He told her he was going to shoot her, and he shot her, and she's dead.
There it is.
Yeah.
Allan,
I find it interesting. The race is really heating up now with Harris in there. There's a whole new energy going on the Democratic side. I think it's interesting that J.D. Vance is trying to portray the Democrats as like being anti-family, which is just insane. And I think he's going to that's already a dangerous thing. Dan Quayle did that. He had a speech about Murphy Brown attacking single moms.
I remember that. Yeah.
Not realizing, look, this country is so diverse in so many ways beyond just race and ethnic and everything. Lifestyles. People have different lifestyles, and it's like, I think, and particularly J.D. Vance maybe doesn't realize who he's running with. If he's trying to use the moral high ground of family values and stuff, he's going to go down a dangerous rabbit hole with Donald Trump, who is anything but family values, So.
You say that the former president of the United States is anything but family values. He has a family.
He has a family.
And he respects his family. He takes care of his family. I don't know if I would go that far.
But if he's cheated on every one of your wives, that's not what you consider family values.
What president of the United States do you know that? Well, I'm not going to start.
I'd like to think Obama. I think George Bush, George W. HW. There's a question there.
Well, Neil Bush was a thief. Neil Bush, he was a thief. And,
But the nicest thing about Kamala standing up now is that we're not going to hear about Hunter Biden because nobody gives a shit now about Hunter Biden.
Well, anyway,
And it's so irrelevant to the whole scheme of things, but they tried to make, sully the.
and my outrage, I find it funny that illiterate, uneducated people that got elected to Congress like Lauren Boebach can have the audacity to say that people that got degrees from Harvard and Yale are not qualified to do anything, and that Vice President Harris is the worst vice president in the history. Now you tell me, what did Dan Quayle do that was so great? Dick Cheney shot a guy. I'm just looking at the vice president.
Right.
Nixon was a crook. He stole.
Right.
Andrew Johnson, he basically forgave all the insurrectionists and the traitors when he became president. We had vice presidents that was drunks and did all kind of crazy shit, and they had the nerve to say, "Oh, she's not qualified." That's affirmative action, vice president. They going down the slip.
They said DEI.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
that's,
she's a
they might as well say
DEI.
neither.
Look, you know what? We've had presidents who, and now I look more favorably on Bush, but George W. Bush, but he was not the brightest guy
George
there.
W. Bush was an assassin, head of the CIA, and all.
No, you're thinking HW.
Yeah, HW, JW, or BW.
XYZW.
And they had Dick Cheney, who shot his hunting partner. It's unbelievable, man. I'm gonna tell you. So a vice president is like the lieutenant governor. They a bridesmaid. They in waiting. You know what? Something happened to the president or the governor. When I was in Colorado, Dick Lamb was the governor. He had this is in the 70s. He had a black lieutenant governor named George Brown, who had been a state senator.
He was a DEI hire.
No, he's not. Yeah, well, you know what? People like George Brown.
Affirmative action.
People like George Brown was a bad dude. But anyway, Dick Lamb went out of the country. George Brown became the governor. George Brown said, "You know what? There's a guy that's been serving time for life, black guy." He said he partnered because he had been convicted of killing this prominent member of this millionaire family. Dick Lamb came right back the next day. Oh man, he undid it.
Oh really?
Yeah, he undid it, and they fired basically from the ticket.
Right.
But this is what they wait for the vice president, and she got her time. Why I sat here and said she wasn't shit, they beat and she didn't do nothing, etc. Now she's in the limelight.
But listen,
so she's not in the
reality is this,
DEI.
though. The reality is this: she's in the spotlight, running for president of the United States. Politics is dirty. They're going to do whatever they need to do on each side to try to generate and inspire their base.
Everybody like
and
a
so
little
everybody needs exactly.
Like
so people need to pay attention to that.
I like it. I like it.
I know you do.
And you know what? and I want to see those colored Republicans who can stand up there and let those folks talk about them, saying you ain't qualified this, you ain't qualified. And a person like Lord Boebach can say Susan Rice. That's like Sarah Palin said, Susan Rice. I'm more qualified than her.
You know what? It's when I hear them say that's a D. We heard that from a Congress member say she's a DEI hire or whatever, and I think like that is to me sounds like the most racist bullshit. It's like it's only saying it's a disguise now, a nice way to say it's only got the job because she's black.
If that's what they believe, that's what they believe.
Yeah, but don't believe that.
Yeah, but you know what?
We're going to take a break.
We're
going to take a break and we'll be back and continue the conversation. Detroit in black and white.
Neighborhood beautification. That's very important to Detroit. It's very important to block clubs, organizations, and people who live in the community. We got started with 2 lots and a vision of a treehouse center. Because if we can take these blighted lots, Detroit give us grants to be able to do something with them that the community wants, it's a plus because we're bringing our neighborhoods back to where we want them to be, where they should be. All because I live in Detroit.
In the heart of Detroit, Bruce Simpson. Our city ombudsman and his team are dedicated to making your voice heard. The City of Detroit Ombudsman is a liaison between the City of Detroit and all persons who have a complaint or inquiry into the operation of a city department or the conduct of a city employee. The Ombudsman works as an independent oversight to provide individuals with an opportunity of giving a confidential avenue to address complaints. You can reach the Ombudsman's office at 313-224-6000 or email us at ombudsmandetroitmi.gov. You can also visit us at the Coleman A. Young Municipal Center. For more information, go to www.detroitmi.gov and type in Ombudsman. We are here to help. In Detroit, we are all one team. When you win, we all win.
This is Alyssa Slotkin, Democrat running for the U.S. Senate. I want to share a story about who, more than anyone, taught me the importance of listening and accountability. It was President Barack Obama. I served in the White House on his national security staff. I got to see him in action, up close, and behind closed doors in the Oval Office. First, he was brilliant, and therefore demanded people really knew their stuff. It was President Obama who grilled me on issues and demanded accountability on what we said and did. That commitment to accountability is exactly the approach I use today, listening to our communities. It's why I've written an opportunity agenda with detailed plans to strengthen Black businesses, increase Black wealth, and provide real opportunities for our youth. Because, as President Obama taught me, you better say what you mean and mean what you say. So that's why I approve this message.
Vote early or on August 6th for Alyssa Slotkin, Democrat for U.S. Senate. Paid for by Alyssa.
All right,
We're back. We're back, Detroit Black and White, and we have a guest. He's really not a guest. He's a family member. I was teasing him last week. He is Bart Simpson's cousin.
Yeah, okay. See, I forgot to come
He's
up with
the
some jokes.
He's the grandson of royalty, right?
Yeah. Honorable Barbara Rose Collins.
Honorable Barbara Rose Collins, but he is our City of Detroit ombudsman, Mr. Bruce Simpson. Good morning.
Good morning. How you guys doing this morning?
All right, Bruce.
A lot has changed in a week since we last got together, right?
Right.
Heard you guys talking about a lot of them doing the first segment.
What do you think? What's your thought on that? And
I think it was inevitable. I think there were people who thought that
What you talking about?
President Biden.
Okay.
Him,
Let's make it plain.
Yeah, make it plain. Him,
Right.
Stepping down and endorsing Harris, I think is the only option they have. Whether you want to talk about financially, right? Not losing out on that money that was donated to the ticket. Donors were talking about holding money back until something was done. And quite frankly, I think it's in step with what he promised. We were talking about it off camera, but he said that he was here to serve a purpose and relieve us from Trump.
right.
He did that. Now it's time to make way for another candidate.
Well, let me ask you this. I'm curious. We talk about the Black vote, and I think in time, some Black people were not embracing Kamala. Some people said she's too bougie, she's not really Black, all these kinds of things. And I sense that there are some Black people are now saying, hey, let's step, like the Michigan Chronicle had a column, the executive editor saying, hey, Black men, support your Black women. Come on, step up now. Do you see a change at all in the Black community in the view on?
You want to go ahead first?
Well, I would say in the community, like in every community, you're going to have a diverse opinions about that candidate. There are some women who didn't like her 3 years ago that have said to me personally, hey, I wasn't really feeling her, but I'm supporting her now.
Right.
Because the danger that we faced 3 years ago is still there. And if that is our hope, some women feel like, how dare you how dare you elect somebody who's going to tell me what to do with my body, what I can and cannot do. But there's some women who said, no, she was a prosecutor. I didn't like her. I didn't like how she treated people as a prosecutor. There are some men who feel the same way. So you can't, I can't say as a Black woman as to what my community is going to do. I can only speak for myself and those people that have spoken to me. And so I've had a split. Okay.
So I think what Vanessa is saying, like any other ethnicity or race, we're not a monolith, right?
Exactly.
Right.
Black people, all of us don't move in one direction. Now, Democrats have certainly had the Black vote for quite some time, but you have this cycle, a lot of Black people that are upset with the party, and I think rightfully so. And when I say that, I just mean that I would have liked to have seen an actual process. We were deprived of that because of the holdout by President Biden. When I say process, I mean a robust primary.
Like a primary debates,
a robust
dialogue.
primary, so where the best person could be identified. Right? Cream always rises to the top, and the only way you get that cream is through a robust process. But we didn't have that, so now it's like you're pulling an all-nighter in college, right? Last minute we got 90 days, and so I think part of it is a lack of time. We don't have time to say we're going to identify this flaw with this candidate. It's either you get behind her or you don't. That's part of it. And then certainly the calls, right? And the galvanizing, 40,000 women on call and 20,000 men.
Right. But let me ask you, I understand, the Black community is not a monolithic community, but do you sense, and this is what I'm sensing, is that some people are like, all right, one guy said, get over it, Black people, she's our, she represents us, that we have to get behind her. Do you sense more support, like people are giving her a second chance, another look?
I think it's akin to what you saw with Joe Biden. I don't think if Joe Biden were running against Donald Trump that anyone would have been lining up to vote for Joe Biden. I think his election was more of an indictment on Trump than it was a vote for Joe Biden.
Right.
And I see this in the same light.
Right. I agree.
So you don't see the excitement that yay Kamala, but
40,000 women on a phone call, 20,000 men. She secured the delegates in record time. There's excitement. I don't want to take that away from her, deprive her of that. I'm saying that we have to operate with what we have, and I think that is the sentiment in the whole Herschel comparing it to Obama. It's not the same.
It's not the same. And to your point, I had a fundraiser the other night, and there were women there, and they were part of D9. D9 is Black Fraternity Sororities. And they said to me, listen, because I am a member of a Greek letter organization. They said to me that, listen, we have to stand behind her. We're standing behind her. Some of these same women wasn't feeling her 3 years ago. So, I think you just, we're dealing with what we have. That's the bottom.
Right. I think people are reconsidering. They're giving a second look. I was saying is sometimes, we were talking last show about what has changed, but it's like, the circumstances have changed. She's now the hope. She's articulate. Yep. She's got, unlike Joe Biden, who had sort of lost that edge, she has that edge against a guy who's it's a fight. I mean, it's a major brawl.
Biden lost the ability to effectively communicate, and any commander in chief we have, that is like right at the top of the list. You have to be able to articulate your message, your record that you're going to stand on, and give people confidence that you can do the job, right? And so he lost some of that. I want to say this. I was one of those persons who was critical of Kamala in terms of her vice presidency. What has she done, right?
Right.
But then I thought about it. You have to do some critical thinking. And I said, well, what did Vice President Biden do under Barack Obama presidency? He had 8 years as vice president, right? What did he do? Nothing. and the point I'm making is the vice president is at the mercy of
Absolutely.
the president and his agenda.
Every president, I think every vice president has a different role. I think Dick Cheney, had a very. He was the
Right.
president. I think Joe Biden on foreign affairs.
He was the president / vice president.
Yeah,
Right.
but I think Joe Biden with foreign affairs and stuff, I think he was an advisor to Obama. Obama was clearly in charge, but he had an active role. Then we see people like Dan Quayle, who we, really didn't see much from. I think we saw some vice presidents who were pretty benign.
Okay,
Go ahead.
go ahead. No,
I was going to say that you,
as
as vice president, you will only have as much latitude or room as is afforded to you by that principal, by that president of the United States and or his handlers. Remember, there's a whole team
Right.
operating to carry out his agenda, not necessarily the vice president.
So
Right.
Bruce,
Yeah.
we're going to turn the subject to you as the ombudsman of the city of Detroit.
Mhm.
What power do you have and what are you doing?
What power do I have? So,
Right.
primarily we deal with oversight, right? So we're a watchdog agency for all city departments. If your taxpayer dollars pay for it, we have oversight. What does that entail? We possess subpoena power to compel some departments to cooperate that don't necessarily want to cooperate when they are negligent in doing their jobs. We don't come heavy-handed. We come smiling, and kind of we're pleasant. However, if you don't cooperate, we know how to flip that switch as well. But we're all working towards the same goal, which is improving the quality of life of Detroiters. In addition to handling complaints, we deal with a lot of policy formation. On the 26th, we had one of our recommendations passed through the House, and I just found out last week that it was signed into law by the governor. And this is for our property transfer affidavits, which I think I talked about a little bit. But basically, speculators, investors are no longer going to be able to get away with not filing that property transfer affidavit and receiving some punitive action that's really going to hit their pockets.
Awesome. Do you have any upcoming events?
Oh, we have tons of events. Primarily, we're probably going to be knocking on your door. So we're going to start our door knocking effort. We're going to go through each district.
For what's the purpose?
The purpose is to inform the people about the Ombudsman's office, the function, and how they can access it. Ombudsman prior to me, nothing against them, but we haven't been as vocal and visible in the past. And so we intend to do that. People can't utilize the function if they don't know about it. So
Right.
we're actually going to come to your neighborhood. The only ask is, hey, if you have an issue or you need assistance, call us.
And you did that last year. I remember you were knocking doors last year, and it was pretty successful, right?
Oh, yeah.
People received you, and people, you got more calls in your office, and you were able to assist the citizens of Detroit. I think it's very important that when you hold a position like that, that not only are you visible, but you're accountable to the people and that you are accessible. And I think that's what you're doing.
Yep, exactly. We believe in being very accessible. You can email us. You can Zoom in every third Thursday. You can call us. You can physically come in. We set up satellite hours throughout the districts across the city. And again, we're coming to your door.
Okay, give our viewers your contact information where they can Zoom in, where they can email, where they can call.
Yep.
If you don't mind, put
Yep.
that out there.
So telephone number is the easiest number in the world. It's 313-224-6000. Again, that's 313-224-6000. And you can email us at ombudsman@detroitmi.gov.
Give me that number one more time. I'll try to put it.
Yep, 313. Oh, there it is.
We got it. It's magic. Teresa, it's magic.
Teresa's on it. I don't know the link by heart, but if you just call us, we'll shoot you the link. And you should sign up for notifications from us. We do not spam you. I only send out information that's relevant.
Okay. All right, cousin. So will
Thank
you be back next week?
Of course.
You coming back next week?
Of course. And I'm
And-
gonna come back with jokes. I'm gonna be
You gonna
prepared.
come-
Yeah, I'm gonna be prepared. You know, I got hit with the Bruce Simpson 2 weeks in a row. I'm 0-2.
Mars
I
is
gotta-
very easy.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna work on it.
As a matter of fact, It's so easy. I want you to write Vanessa Moss of November the 6th on your ballot. Vanessa Moss for 36th District Court. I mean, see, you help me out. You help me. You help me out.
And a reminder is that early voting, I believe, begins today. You can look up where they're having early voting around. I know the city of Detroit on West Grand Boulevard, the voting, but there's a bunch of other places you can go. And so you can write in Vanessa today.
No.
No?
There's no primary for 36th District.
Oh, really?
Exactly. There's
Okay,
no primary
I'm
for
sorry.
36th District Court. That's why I said November.
Wow.
I'll be doing the same thing that Bruce is doing. I'll be knocking on doors, but I have time. It's November the 6th.
So
Okay.
unless you want to write her in for U.S. Senate.
They can write the committee a check. That's what they can do. That's what they can do. But anyway.
All right,
All
we
right,
are
we're
going to
go
take a
for
break.
Neighborhood beautification. That's very important to Detroit. It's very important to block clubs, organizations, and people who live in the community. We got started with 2 lots and a vision of a treehouse center. Because if we can take these blighted lots, Detroit give us grants to be able to do something with them that the community wants, it's a plus because we're bringing our neighborhoods back to where we want them to be, where they should be. All because I live in Detroit.
In the heart of Detroit, Bruce Simpson. Our city ombudsman and his team are dedicated to making your voice heard. The City of Detroit Ombudsman is a liaison between the City of Detroit and all persons who have a complaint or inquiry into the operation of a city department or the conduct of a city employee. The Ombudsman works as an independent oversight to provide individuals with an opportunity of giving a confidential avenue to address complaints. You can reach the Ombudsman's office at 313-224-6000 or email us at ombudsmandetroitmi.gov. You can also visit us at the Coleman A. Young Municipal Center. For more information, go to www.detroitmi.gov and type in Ombudsman. We are here to help. In Detroit, we are all one team. When you win, we all win.
This is Alyssa Slotkin, Democrat running for the U.S. Senate. I want to share a story about who, more than anyone, taught me the importance of listening and accountability. It was President Barack Obama. I served in the White House on his national security staff. I got to see him in action, up close, and behind closed doors in the Oval Office. First, he was brilliant, and therefore demanded people really knew their stuff. It was President Obama who grilled me on issues and demanded accountability on what we said and did. That commitment to accountability is exactly the approach I use today, listening to our communities. It's why I've written an opportunity agenda with detailed plans to strengthen Black businesses, increase Black wealth, and provide real opportunities for our youth. Because, as President Obama taught me, you better say what you mean and mean what you say. So that's why I approve this message.
Vote early or on August 6th for Alyssa Slotkin, Democrat for U.S. Senate. Paid for by Alyssa.
We're back. We're back. Detroit Black and White. If you're watching today, like, subscribe, and share. We thank everyone that's watching. Terry, see your comment. We're going to talk about that in a few minutes. But right now, we have another guest, someone that is not a stranger to me. She's not a stranger to others. This is the esteemed, the Honorable Nancy Quarles. She is the chairman of the Oakland County Democratic Party. She is also the former state representative for state representative. What district is that? It was 36th district, and former Oakland County Commissioner Nancy Quarles. Thank you for. Oh, and guess what? We were also neighbors, and we also sat on the neighborhood association together. Do you remember Keisha? Do you remember we served for Keisha? I forget to talk about those kind of things when I'm out here, but at any rate, Nancy, welcome this morning.
Thank you. Thank you.
So what brings you here this morning? What you want to talk about?
Oh, I want to talk about the upcoming election.
Okay, talk about
it. How important it is to get out, and especially starting yesterday with the early voting. Well, people have absolutely no reason to not vote. Between early voting and absentee ballots, we really need to get it out there. This is a critical I'm not one to talk about this as the most important election in my life, but I plan on living a long time.
Right.
But this is a critical election. We have democracy on the ballot. We have rights on the ballot. We have how we're going to live from this day forward. But sometimes as I'm talking to people, they forget that what happens today affects the next 10, 20, or even up to 30 years. So I don't want anybody to forget not to go out and vote.
Right. So Nancy, I understand that you recently received an award. Let's talk about that award and congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. I was given the President Lifetime Achievement Award last Sunday.
Isn't that awesome?
Yeah.
From the President and the Mayor Quarles. So that was quite a surprise and very humble that what you do get recognized.
Right.
Especially when you're doing it because it's the right thing to do for those that you're around and the society that you serve.
Now, do not disrespect it because you are Dr. Nancy Quarles. Am I correct?
Absolutely. But
This is Dr. Nancy Quarles. I like to give people their propers when they do. This is actually Dr. Nancy Quarles, and she has been a warrior for a long time. So if you haven't heard of Nancy Quarles, that is the reason you haven't heard of her is because you live under a rock. Because she's been everywhere and she does everything. A wonderful treasure to our community.
Oh, I appreciate you
So,
saying that.
yeah. So, what else that you want to talk about the upcoming election? What is your take on what's happening in the Democratic Party and the nominee? That's your soror, right?
Yes, absolutely.
And she's my D9 sister. But go ahead.
That's okay. That's good. And we're going to use all of that to get her elected.
Right. Right.
Oh, absolutely. We're going to do all of that. But what's important is that we need to make sure we're giving some time. And giving time doesn't necessarily mean you have to go outside of your home and do something. Many of us can work our contact list, remind people to go vote. Right now at the Oakland County Democratic Party, as well with many organizations, we're doing phone calling. We're calling people, asking them to return their AVs. It's amazing to me. People who request the absentee ballot, and then they have the tendency of setting it to the side. But when they get that call to remind them, they quickly fill it out and take it back in. We need every vote. We need every vote from the top of the ticket to the bottom of the ticket. Make sure for those cities that have two-sided votes, ballots, please make sure you flip it over and vote the backside. It's important as this presidential election, local elections to me are far more important because those are the people who have effect on your life day to day.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. You have any questions you want to ask, Nancy?
Yeah, I have a question. So I have a 17-year-old son. He's going to turn 18 on November 1st, right? So this will be his first presidential election that he can vote on and participate in. How do we? I'm going to make sure he votes. First of all, let me be clear. Dad is on it, but how do we make sure those young folks who may be they may have a negative feeling towards government, towards politics. They don't see the utility in voting. How do we inspire, encourage, and push them to get out to vote? Because they're important as well, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Onboard them in the right way.
Yeah, absolutely. They're critical because if they start off voting when they have the first opportunity to become lifetime voters. Recently, the Oakland County Party, we did a focus group with Black men from the age of 17 to 70 plus. And one of the things that came out of there, especially in that 17 to 26 group, is how do you communicate with them? Now, fortunately, your son have youth.
Right.
I have nephews that I work real hard with. But the ones who don't, they get their message from social media. All the campaigns are going to have to go to the social media,
Yeah.
Especially the ones that they listen to. It's not necessarily Facebook and LinkedIn,
TikTok,
yeah,
Instagram.
Yeah.
and it's a couple of these new media that's out there, various platforms. So it's going to take a little digging. The guys at that group, they gave me a list of where they list and where they listen to, but it's upon the campaign, it's upon candidates to know. You gotta tap into a different medium. The old newspapers, I don't even think newspapers are out anymore, but the newspapers that you used to pick up and read, they may look at them, but that's not what they're looking for.
Right.
As they emphasize to me, they're in that microwave age.
Yep.
They want something quick.
Yeah.
Instant. Everything is instant.
Yeah. Yeah. Let me ask you this. As the chair of the Oakland County Democratic Party, is the National Party helping the local party there in Oakland County? And if so, how are they helping? Getting out the message and that kind of thing.
Well, it's two ways. One, as you probably know, there's a state party, and information flows both ways, up and down through the state party. So questions and things that come up that you need to ask for communications, it's really been open. The other way is we're having a number of Michigan. I think everyone knows Michigan is very important to this election. And therefore, there are a number of people that's coming in and out. So the message, the appearances, the emphasis on how important this election is all taking place.
I have a question. It just popped in my head as you were talking. I think Vice President did a very good job of delivering a different message as relates to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. We have a large Arab American population here in Michigan that could decide the way this election goes. And they were not fond of President Biden's policy and how he executed, considering that subject matter. What do you think that we can do to give that community confidence that this vice president and this presidential candidate is going to support them and their people back home?
Well, I think the first thing we have to do is listen to them. And I'm sure they're very vocal, direct members in the community, their community, they will tell you. And then try to see where you can assimilate the things that are important to them into the message. Everything we're going to do, she will be able to do it all. But
Right.
at least you have an understanding.
Right.
It's not something you would just assume.
Right.
Go to the community and talk to them. Because that's one of the reasons why I found as chair, there's been many communities I've had to actually go to better understand the issues.
Well, Nancy, want to thank you for coming down. Are you on your way to the golf course?
How would you ever know? How would you ever know?
Right. Well, we thank you for coming on to Detroit in Black and White. We hope you come back, and hopefully we'll see you soon. Again, Dr. Nancy Quarles, the chairwoman of the Oakland County Democratic Party. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the invitation.
Neighborhood beautification. That's very important to Detroit. It's very important to block clubs, organizations, and people who live in the community. We got started with 2 lots and a vision of a treehouse center. Because if we can take these blighted lots, Detroit give us grants to be able to do something with them that the community wants, it's a plus because we're bringing our neighborhoods back to where we want them to be, where they should be. All because I live in Detroit.
In the heart of Detroit, Bruce Simpson. Our city ombudsman and his team are dedicated to making your voice heard. The City of Detroit Ombudsman is a liaison between the City of Detroit and all persons who have a complaint or inquiry into the operation of a city department or the conduct of a city employee. The Ombudsman works as an independent oversight to provide individuals with an opportunity of giving a confidential avenue to address complaints. You can reach the Ombudsman's office at 313-224-6000 or email us at ombudsmandetroitmi.gov. You can also visit us at the Coleman A. Young Municipal Center. For more information, go to www.detroitmi.gov and type in Ombudsman. We are here to help. In Detroit, we are all one team. When you win, we all win.
This is Alyssa.
Oh,
This is Alyssa Slotkin, Democrat running for the U.S. Senate. I want to share a story about who, more than anyone, taught me the importance of listening and accountability. It was President Barack Obama. I served in the White House on his national security staff. I got to see him in action, up close, and behind closed doors in the Oval Office. First, he was brilliant, and therefore demanded people really knew their stuff. It was President Obama who grilled me on issues and demanded accountability on what we said and did. That commitment to accountability is exactly the approach I use today, listening to our communities. It's why I've written an opportunity agenda with detailed plans to strengthen Black businesses, increase Black wealth, and provide real opportunities for our youth. Because, as President Obama taught me, you better say what you mean and mean what you say. So that's why I approve this message.
Vote early or on August 6th for Alyssa Slotkin, Democrat for U.S. Senate. Paid for by Alyssa Slotkin.
we're happy to have Karen here.
Yeah,
All right,
I
we are
know.
back.
Yeah, we are back, Detroit in Black and White. If you're watching Detroit in Black and White on YouTube, we want you to like, subscribe, and share. Thank you to all those that are watching. Bird, Terry, we like your we like the fact that you're watching, but more importantly, we like that you're commenting. And we're going to get to those comments maybe even the next 10 minutes or so. Speaking of comments, one of our frequent viewers, she used to listen to us when we was on the radio, Detroit Black and White. Adolph and I was on the radio. And when we moved to YouTube, she said, I'm going right to YouTube. Karen Winston, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Welcome to Detroit Black and White.
Thank you.
So one of our the people on the show said, let's get Karen on the show so that she could talk about, first of all, talk about who you are and what drove you to Detroit Black and White.
Well, I'm a Detroit retiree. I worked for the city of Detroit over 30 years. After all the other daytime talk shows wore out, and I just started searching for talk shows because I like to listen, I like to comment. And then I stumbled upon you guys, and I thought I'd stick with you.
Okay, awesome.
And what were you doing for the city of Detroit?
I worked for the public lighting department for over 30 years. That's my only, actually my only job with the city.
Okay. Now you were caught up in the whole pension issue during the bankruptcy and
Yes, but I retired in 2009, far before the bankruptcy. So I don't know how I got mixed in.
Did your pension get impacted by the bankruptcy?
It's still impacted, absolutely, still impacted.
And tell us how, in what way?
Well, they first of all, we took a 4.5% pay cut. That's still in effect. We had our health care removed. That's still in effect. We also had our annuities taken back, and that they're still doing that 10 years later.
Wow.
Yeah, so they're still going in our pension and taking what they said we owe. They never proved it.
And is there any way of ever recouping any of that, or is that a final kind of
Well,
arrangement?
hopefully, since they caught the guy with the Riverfront Conservancy, hopefully everything will start to calm. That's our hope.
That's really, I mean, when you think about it, there's $40 million missing that could have gone to people
Absolutely.
in the pension.
Absolutely.
It is criminal, literally, in
It is criminal.
every way.
It's a crime.
It is a crime, but I have said more than once that he's not the only one. That there were several people. There was a board that is involved. They were sleeping on a job, and or some people were cooperating. You cannot tell me that was not the case. But we'll see what happens with that.
Exactly.
So,
You can't
yeah.
tell me that it's not status quo across your
Right.
The majority of your 501ks and all these people are raising money.
Right.
They don't raise money for nothing. It's a job. The
Right.
job is to raise money.
Right.
Right. It's normally, I mean, I've covered a lot of the criminal cases and embezzlements, and usually we see like $1.2 million embezzled over 10 years or 5 years, but to get $40 million, I think it was over 12 years, but that is, it's just so outrageous. How could you have continued an operation like that, not noticing like Some money's missing.
Okay.
You must have had.
I'm not
what-
buying it.
There's
I don't
mo-
buy it.
I
We're
mean,
not buying it.
No.
And we're not buying it that it's him. I have a problem with the fact that they just have this one face. I'm sorry. No, that could not possibly be true.
No way. It goes real deep, but it goes super deep.
Yeah, they had some article not too long ago saying that on one hand you have the media saying that he's taking a plea deal. Then the other day he's telling the court, listen, the amount of money that you guys are telling me to live off of, $3,000, is not enough money for me to survive. He still has his constitutional rights, right?
Yeah.
He is innocent until proven
That's
guilty. And realistically, $3,000 is not enough money to live off of. You know, but unfortunately, there are people who are living far less than $3,000.
Exactly.
well, considering the lifestyle he lived for those years where he was making $40 million, I mean,
Right.
you can't really feel sorry for him. I mean, look, the paper cases are the strongest. I mean, they have it documented. He's going to have to cop a plea. I think the question is, what kind of deal can he get? But look, it's a public. He was a public official. He should get some that's some serious money.
Yeah,
He needs to do
say
quality
this.
time. He needs to do the same
Let
thing.
me
for
say
him.
this.
Yeah.
Let me say this. That prosecutors, I don't care if it's a federal, I don't care if it's state, I don't care if they always overcharge. Okay, they always overcharge. Number one. Number two, none of us have the benefit of seeing the discovery. All we know is what the media is telling us, right? And we know that somebody is leaking whatever information they want for us to have, right? We're not getting the full picture. So I think it would be incumbent upon all of us to sit back, watch, and see what happens.
But I don't know. I think it's there's
You've convicted him already.
well I
You've
think
convicted him
there've been-
already.
well, look,
Him by himself, and that's the problem.
look. The thing is, there's been audits.
You've convicted him already.
He's guilty. There's audits been done.
He's guilty
The
of
he's
being the CFO of the Conservancy. What do you think here?
He's in charge of the finances.
What do you think here?
I think that what he's done is nothing. It's status quo. This is what they all do. It's what they all do. And the thing is,
Well, hopefully
if you
not
pay,
all.
you play. If you play, you pay. And that's the name of that game. Now, I didn't tell you the worst part was our cost of living was removed, and it's never returned. So we're still living on 2012, 2013
Wow.
money. Not one cost of living.
Wow.
And nowadays with inflation really has. We look at the wages during the pandemic, where we see White Castle workers were suddenly $15 an hour,
Right.
and you're still getting the same amount of money. We go to a restaurant now; it's outrageous how much it costs to eat. Particularly a really nice restaurant, the prices are so outrageous. But any regular restaurant now, it's funny. I was talking about a hamburger. Last night I was telling somebody they have a $22 hamburger. It's probably more now at the evening bar at the Shinola, and
Everybody don't go to the Shinola.
and
Right.
and that used to be a lot. Now it's like a $12 hamburger used to be like a really high-end hamburger. Now it's like, man, those are the specials now during hamburger week. It's only $12 or whatever. It's crazy.
Right. So how are you enjoying life as a retiree, given that you had this issue with, the bankruptcy and they took your annuity and so on and so forth. But other than that, how's life going?
Life is good.
Okay.
Life is good. I enjoy doing what I want to do.
Okay.
or nothing if I don't want it. Because
Okay.
I always say if I don't do it today, it's always tomorrow.
And are you a resident of Detroit?
I am.
Absolutely.
And what part of Detroit? do
I
you
live in the Badley area. I guess the university area, 6 miles.
Oh, okay. Now, how are things there these days?
What I don't like their new street that they did. They cut the street down where the bus stops are basically in the middle of the street.
Uh-huh.
Right.
So I don't like that because when you turn into traffic.
Right. But
So-
it's still, in terms of a neighborhood, it's
neighborhood's
a very nice
Neighborhood.
neighborhood.
Yes, very, yeah.
Neighborhood- I love the neighborhood. I've been there since early 90s.
Right. Well, Karen, we want to thank you for coming
I
down.
appreciate you
We want to
having me.
thank you so much for watching, liking, subscribe, and sharing. You could come back anytime because you are family.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
And we're going to cut to a commercial.
Thank you.
All right. Thank
In the
you.
heart of Detroit, Bruce Simpson. Our city ombudsman and his team are dedicated to making your voice heard. The City of Detroit Ombudsman is a liaison between the City of Detroit and all persons who have a complaint or inquiry into the operation of a city department or the conduct of a city employee. The Ombudsman works as an independent oversight to provide individuals with an opportunity of giving a confidential avenue to address complaints. You can reach the Ombudsman's office at 313-224-6000 or email us at ombudsmandetroitmi.gov. You can also visit us at the Coleman A. Young Municipal Center. For more information, go to www.detroitmi.gov and type in Ombudsman. We are here to help. In Detroit, we are all one team. When you win, we all win.
Well, welcome back. That's been a great show. So we had Karen, we had Nancy Quarles, your neighbor.
My
Your
former
former
neighbor. Yeah, that's when I was living in Southfield. And like I indicated, I forgot that we had formed a group called Keisha, which was a political action group. I forgot that I was on the board until she sat here. I was like, oh my God.
But you had a
was
senior moment?
No,
Are you
it's a matter
qualified to run?
no,
Are you
it's a
too
matter.
old?
No, it's a matter of I've done so much in the community because I wanted to, and because my parents raised me to get back
You're
to
a
the community.
DEI community person.
No, I'm not a DEI. I'm a do it community person.
Okay.
I forgot. So, but yeah, we sat on the neighborhood association.
And I just want to say, I talked to Dave Tinsley, the assistant general manager of the David Whitney Hotel. He
Yeah.
said he's so happy to have us, and that he's going to give us some future dates so we can
Okay,
come over
absolutely.
here and enjoy the ambiance of this lovely hotel. I'll start with you, Allan, as we close for today. Your final thoughts.
I'm excited about the race now, the presidential race. I think there's a lot of energy on both sides. I saw an attack ad yesterday against Harris, putting it about the border, which to me is like Trump is responsible. He essentially killed the Republican-led bill to strengthen things at the border. And people say, oh, it wasn't perfect. It wasn't. Yes, it wasn't perfect, but it was an improvement. And he undercut it so he could continue. It was like Nixon basically told the Vietnamese, like, don't make peace here because I'll give you a better deal. And so thousands of more servicemen died.
Well, let me tell you, can I tell you this? Reagan and them told Iran don't release the hostages until he
Right.
gets sworn
Right.
in.
It's
They
so
play this game.
outrageous.
Ask you a question.
All right,
My
better
question is
speak in.
this.
Yes.
If the former president was standing right here, would you shake his hand?
Would I shake his hand? I probably would.
Okay.
I
Would
probably
you say it's nice to meet you?
I don't know if I'd get that nice, but I wouldn't be.
I'm a bitch slapping.
Yeah, I mean,
That's what
I would. I put it this way. I would
I'm a bitch
love to interview him.
Okay, so you would love to interview
I
him.
would
He's an
Okay.
introvert.
Okay.
I've met Donald Trump at one time.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
scared of
You know
black
I'm messing with him.
He's
That's why I asked
scared
that
Well,
question.
I'll tell you this. I worked with a guy when remember when he was making fun of a reporter. There was a reporter, Serge
Well, that was
Kovaleski.
your friend, right?
Yeah, Serge Kovaleski, who worked at the Washington Post at the time, who's now at the New York Times. And he said, when people criticize him, he says, I don't even know who that is. He goes, I don't know that guy. And Serge Kovaleski told me, he said, when he worked at the New York Daily News, he said, we were on a first name basis. I mean, the
He's
guy.
He's a liar.
So,
Your final thoughts.
My final thoughts are, listen, it's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. It is beautiful outside. Get out and enjoy yourself. I will be on the ballot in November. The reason I'm going to be on the ballot is because you're going to write my name in for judge for 36th District Court, November the 6th, Vanessa Moss. You will be seeing me coming to your neighborhood, coming to your television screens, coming in your mail. Vanessa Moss, 36th District Court. Everyone have a wonderful, wonderful weekend.
And I won't be here for the next couple shows. I'll be gone. I'm
You want to say where you're going?
I'm participating in the Olympics. I'm running 100
That's what's up.
a yard,
That's what's
whatever.
up. That's what's up.
Yeah, right.
I asked Adolph, I said, how did you get tickets? And he said, I just went online. I never even thought of that, of going online and getting tickets to the Olympics. So amazing. But I have to say
Thank you,
also,
Bernie.
I also have to say, I Adolph in high school and junior high was
runner.
fast.
Yeah, I read
He
that.
was extremely.
We had to run from the Oak Park police.
Adolph was
No
was
question.
fast.
But anyway, we'll see you next week. This is Detroit in Black and White. I want to thank all our guests. I want to thank
Jim
the
and
David Whitney
Teresa.
Hotel. Wait a minute, we already, they go down the best. We say the best for last.
Okay.
Jim Nardoni, Teresa, thank you very much. We couldn't make this show happen without your participation.
Oh, we want to say thanks, Tim, for your comments. I forgot to read your comments, but we'll take care of you next week. And thank you, Mr. Bird and Dwayla and D. Holly and all you others that watch us every week. Thank you.
Thank you. Don't